Good morning.
Good morning.
Welcome to Wednesday and Daily Dose. Oh, all right. Let's just jump right in. Should
You
we
go
jump
for it,
right
go.
in? So I finished this book that I referenced a little bit on Monday, Nobody Knows What They're Doing by Lee Crutchley. And I want to read to you one of the almost last paragraphs because I think it's really a great reminder, and I will tell you why. We'll tell you why when I finish it. No matter how much help or advice you are given, you will still have to make all of the decisions and do all of the work yourself. No matter how much help or advice you are given, you still have to take the first step alone. No matter how much help or advice you are given, it will be up to you to start walking. And I love that because I am of the academic bent, for good or for bad, mostly for good. But my desire, my instinct is to always find one more book, one more blog, one more podcast, one more something to help inspire me, back me up, give me the courage to take the step, blah, 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 blah. And actually, it's just about taking the damn step. Don't you think?
Yes. Yes, I do. It's an interesting way of putting that, actually.
Do you want to say anything more about that?
No, you carry on.
Okay.
I'll be more profound in a minute.
Okay, all right. Actually, what I thought about when I read it last night was this. So I chose to have Quinn alone. Quinn's dad is in Quinn's life. He's always been in Quinn's life. But he asked me if I would marry him, and I said no. And I don't believe either one of us regrets that decision. But he is in Quinn's life, and he always has been. And Quinn's extended family has been really in his life. But my dad and his wife took the day off, the day that I brought Quinn home from the hospital. And they drove up, and they brought us back to a little apartment. And they brought us 2 bags of groceries, and then they left. And I looked around this little apartment that I had lived in for 2.5 months, and now I had this tiny, tiny premature baby. And I remember thinking, oh my gosh, like, I have to do this by myself. And other people were there to help, and my mom came over that day after school, and my brothers, even though they were young, and my middle brother was super crusty about it, were good help, and my stepdad and Quinn's other family, all these people. But ultimately, no matter how much I had read or how much advice I had been given or how many tidbits I had picked up, ultimately I just had to be that parent, and I had to do it by myself. And that is true for all the things.
It's true. When I was in rehab, and I finally started to listen and understand that I actually needed help. The help was fantastic, but my absolutely wonderful counselor, Joanna, said, this is still up to you. Mm-hmm. You have to be able to do this. And then when I left, graduated from rehab, and I, started, for me, the sensible thing of going to the AA meetings and listening to people. And I listened for a year before I actually spoke. I actually think there were a couple of people there that thought I couldn't speak. But I needed to listen. She taught me that. And the more I listened, the more I understood that you really have to, it is hard. To live with the disease of addiction is not easy. It kind of explains why so many people sadly don't accomplish that task successfully. It's scary to do it. And I'm very lucky. There are people who are sober longer than I am, and they're scared. They talk about it and they say, I'm scared almost every day. And I was worried that I would be scared, but I haven't been. And then I was worried that I shouldn't be complacent. And I don't think I am, but it's the work that you have to do for that. And this is an extreme, but to bring it to the middle of the road, life in general is full of, ultimately it's your choice. I mean, there are some philosophers that say that the only choice humans actually ever have is quite simple. You could talk about it for hours, but the simple fact of it is either you do good or you don't.
Yeah.
Or you do something to better yourself or you don't.
It really is, everything really is ultimately your decision to move forward or not. And it's not bad to look for outside help or guidance or support or mentorship or inspiration. We all do better when something comes along. I mean, you come home from AA often and generically tell me about, someone stood up today and got his 35-year chip, or someone stood up today and had been sober for 15 years and got his 24-hour chip, or whatever. And you tell me those stories because they must move you. They speak to you.
They do.
They inspire you to either keep going or to continue to be vigilant, or whatever. But that is true for all of the decisions that we make, all of the actions that we take in our lives, ultimately have to come from us. You think about crimes of passion. That's a decision. And you can say, well, okay, but they were out of their mind. That might be true, but there was still a decision made. And that's at its most extreme case. So if you are the kind of person who is working on something small, like we talked about yesterday, what's the first small step you can take? Did anybody do that yesterday? Because I did go through and start to catalog my expenses like I said I would. Did you do the...
We still have a loose skirting board.
Well, those 5 minutes are hard to come by.
It's terrible.
Well,
in my defense, it is going to lead on to more jobs, because if you buy a 1954-year-old house and do anything to it, something else falls off.
That's a defense. That's true.
Yeah, we've been there together, doing that.
But that was your project for yesterday.
I know.
It wasn't our project for yesterday. Anyway, whatever that agenda you set for yourself yesterday, ultimately you have to decide to do it. Or if you don't, you have to acknowledge that you decided not to do it. And that is a decision. Doing nothing is a decision. But ultimately you have to make it. So where in your life do you either want or need to take the first step?
That's actually really, I like that, because a lot of things that you read, and a lot of, the management book I've read, I think I've actually read part of a self-help book, but what it comes down to is sometimes in life, if you think your life isn't going the way it's going, it's not because you've made bad decisions, it's because you've made no decisions.
Yes, no decision is a decision. No action is an action.
Not making a decision is probably the worst thing you could actually do.
As my director of theater used to say, it's a choice. It's not the right choice, but it's a choice.
I do like that story.
I do too, because here's the thing. Many decisions that we make in life do come with do-overs. Whether we need to beg forgiveness, whether we need to go back and repair a relationship, whether we need to sort of humble ourselves and admit we were wrong. Most, even not good decisions, can kind of rectify or right themselves. So then what is the fear? The fear of decision making can be paralyzing, but that's because you're only thinking about worst case scenario. What about best case scenario? And doing nothing is still a decision. And that's not a decision I'm very interested in. And let me tell you, I am trapped in the doing nothing decision making right this minute, and it is why I am so unsettled about other areas of my life, not my marriage,
I
not
know.
my family relationships, not the things that are
Next professional step.
yeah, my
There
next
you go.
professional step. I'm not making decisions because I am afraid to make the wrong decision. Well, that's still a decision then. I'm just staying in the same place. That's a decision. And so remind yourself that it's easier to give this advice than to take it,
Yeah.
and that you don't have to eat the whole elephant in one fell swoop. So figure out where you can make a small step that will lead you towards this larger decision without completely upsetting the entire apple cart. Anything else you want to add, Dr. Mary?
No, I mean this is kind of this is very tied to what we talked about yesterday. I think so. I mean, the only thing I can say is what I said again. Like, if you're actually sitting there going, do I drink too much? The only advice I can give you from yesterday and today, because I think this is kind of an extension of the same conversation, and it worked so fantastically for it wasn't just me. There was a group of us doing it. Get yourself one of those little surveys. Do it again without lying, and then do it again and double it. And if you want the honest truth, that could be your one step to do.
And then figure
that's
out what
just-
you're going to do with that.
Yeah, but that's the next step.
Yep.
The first step is
Yes.
is to actually do it. Then you're faced with that'll give you a choice, and your choice being, do I do something about this or don't I?
Yes. Yes. Okay, so I want to say two more quick things. One, I came up with a new first step today, and I'm saying it to you in an effort to publicly hold myself accountable.
That's
I have, and I've talked about this, I have a cuticle challenge. I do a lot of this, which is so disgusting. And I stopped that when I was getting my nails done beautifully. But I stopped getting my nails done during COVID, and I decided I don't want to go back to that. It's just a step I don't want to take. But I also don't want to have crappy fingernails. So, my goal today is to...
I love the way you say that, because it sounds like you're annoyed of yourself.
I am annoyed with myself. It annoys me that that I'm choosing not to control it. It annoys me that a rough cuticle has more control over me than I have over it. That annoys me. It's a freaking cuticle. So, my challenge to myself, which I am saying to you, is keep my fingers out of my mouth and don't sit and do this and look for the rough thing that then I can pick at, because it's disgusting and because I want to control my cuticles. They are inanimate. I'm allowing an inanimate thing to control me.
Well, they're not really inanimate, because they do technically move.
I know, but they're generally inanimate. Okay, so that's the first thing I want to say. And the second thing I want to address, based on a conversation we had last week around the post that I found around the black man talking about taking his child to daycare.
No, yeah.
Yesterday, I hope, was the beginning of a long, long overdue and beyond much needed change in this country. So if you have an opportunity to do something to continue to drive the change toward equity for all people, make the choice to do that thing. And it
Actually,
can be something small.
the Constitution does say that all men are created equal and everything like that, but somewhere along the line, the founding fathers decided to choose that meant white men.
Well, not somewhere along the line, from the get-go.
Yeah, so, you know, they kind
Not
of
just
forgot
white
about...
men, white land-owning wealthy men.
Yeah, and they forgot about everyone else,
Yes.
including, you know, at the time, minorities and white women.
Yes. Who are a minority. Just we're, you know, if you're going to hierarchically rank them, we benefit the most of the minority groups. But the point is, make a choice today to do something to either better your own understanding of inequity in this country or reach out and lift somebody else up in a way that matters. And I think that is a good ending for Wednesday.
That's a fantastic ending for Wednesday.
So tomorrow morning, our friend Michael Klug is joining us. Although there is a
Actually, I have never met this person.
Oh, that's right. There is a tiny chance he won't be joining us because he and his husband are moving 2 doors down in their apartment building. So I wrote to him today to make sure that he'll even have internet somewhere between those 2 apartments. But the plan is for Michael to join us tomorrow, and he's going to talk about sort of the addiction of anxiety and some other things. He doesn't struggle with the substance abuse, but he's got plenty of other things he's going to come on and share with us. So we're looking forward to it, and if it doesn't happen tomorrow, he'll be on again soon. But I hope you tune in and have an excellent day. Figure out how you can learn all the stuff, take all the inspiration, and then you take the first step. Have a great day.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.